In this case, we're talking about a connection between Solar's Point and Hawkins Point, which is the northeast and southwest point. So these 2 points, Solar's Point and Hawkins Point, are significant in the spiritual realms. Solar's means clever, expert, or skilled. And on that Solar's Point, guess what? There's a church. It's called the Mount Olive Baptist Church. So we have here Mount of Olives, this symbol of Jesus' presence on one point. And on the other point, we have Hawkins Point. Hawkins means son of the house ruler. God, Jesus. Jesus is the Son of God. So Hawkins Point also on it has something called Fort Armistead. Guess what Fort Armistead means? Armistead literally means the place of the hermit. Prophetically, this is what the Lord is telling me. It refers to the quiet place. And so we have here two ways, two symbols of Jesus. Colossians 1:15. Jesus is the image of the invisible God. The place of Jesus' physical presence, the Mount of Olives, with the place of Jesus' spiritual presence, the quiet place. The bridge connected those two things. So what is the bridge? The bridge, this Interstate 695, is a symbol of the connection between these two things. What has the enemy done? What has the ship Dali done? What has the marsh, what has the evil element of society done? They have destroyed that connection. This is what's happened here. We have seen the sensuality of Salvador Dali, the sensuality, the wokeness, the leftist ideology, the mysticism, all of these evil things wrapped up in that name Dali destroy the connection between spirit and truth. Of course they have. The enemy has done nothing if not try to convince you and me that we cannot walk in the power of the Holy Spirit. He wants us to focus on only one or the other. It said, without the Spirit, you dry up, and without the Word, you blow up. Well, that's very true. We can't have too much emphasis on one or the other. We have to walk in balance. So there was a connection, and that connection has been destroyed by the enemy. This is the message behind the fall of the Interstate 695. The enemy has destroyed the connection between walking in spirit and truth. He is trying to convince you that you need to focus more on the written word. I'm here to tell you, you need to walk in balance. He wants you to believe that you can focus more on hearing the voice. I'm here to tell you, you can't do that without testing it by the written word. We have to walk in balance between these two things. That bridge, that connection has been destroyed. And presumably, the next message is, we are going to build it again. That's one of my jobs, is to help us understand we are going to build this sucker again. We are going to reconnect with a new bridge, the connection between spirit and truth, the connection between God's physical, God's quiet place where he speaks to us in the still small voice, and God's physical place where he speaks to us in the Logos and the written word. The Strong's number, 695, in Hebrew literally means to lie in wait. Of course, that's what the enemy did. He lies in wait to take us out. And that's what he has done. He has taken out the connection between spirit and truth. So there's a double destruction here. The connection between spirit and truth has been destroyed by the enemy. And by the way, it's being exposed so that his lying in wait, his plans, his schemes, his plans and schemes are also being destroyed. You see, this is also seen in the fact that the Dali ship, that whole symbol of sensuality and wokeness and leftist ideology and surrealism, even though it took out America, the symbol of freedom, itself was affected. It damaged itself. It destroyed itself. You see what's happening? And we see that happening. Another confirmation of the 695, I'm going to read, just make reference to Psalm 95:6. just those numbers switched around. Yes, God can do this as part of the prophetic message. And it says there, come, let us worship and bow down. Look at this, you guys. Worship the spiritual realm. Bow down the physical realm. So this is another confirmation of this message between the need for connection between spirit and truth. Worship in the spirit, bow down in the physical. See that? Now we're seeing some connections here. I'm going to keep going here. There's more. Okay, guess what? The old bridge, the actual old Francis Scott Key Bridge was something called fracture critical. And I looked into it, I did my research. The term fracture critical is actually a reference to when there are no safeties or redundancies in place. In other words, something that is fracture critical means that if one element is damaged or broken, it's very, very likely that the whole thing will come down. You see? So now we're getting into this old wine, new wine thing. I'm just going to read for you Luke chapter 5. Luke chapter 5, verse 37, 39. And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. If he does, the new wine will burst the skins, and the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, new wine must be poured into new wineskins, and no one after drinking old wine wants the new, for he says the old is better. Okay, so the old connection between spirit and truth was not ideal. It did not have any redundancies. It was not... This is the message the Lord is also saying, in addition to all these other messages. Yes, you guys, don't worry about whether or not every single message lines up with each other. It doesn't have to. This is a spiritual, a prophetic thing. The old connection between spirit and truth was tenuous at best. Now with the new bridge, we can assume safely that they're going to have all kinds of redundancies in place. They're going to have all kinds of safeties in place that were not there before. The new bridge, the new wine is being established. It will be established. That's one of and with that, God has allowed this old connection to be demolished. Because why? Because it's time for a new one. It's time for the new wine.